1960, early part of 60, late 59.
Okay. And when you started to go to law school, you were still in the service at that time?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay, so you exited from the service and...
Yes, I set up a practice in Beverly Hills, out here at Medical Village.
Okay.
And I worked in the offices of Harold Luria in Dearborn until I decided what I wanted to do. Okay. And then I found a space. This was out in the country. Southfield there wasn't much traffic out here at that time.
Right.
Southfield was just a 2-lane street.
Right.
And there was a new building that was being put on Medical Village, and so I took a space there, and
this would have been 1960 something?
61.
61.
61, 62.
Okay. So when you exited and you started going to law school, was this on the GI that you was
No.
part of the GI bill?
No.
Okay.
I didn't. I paid for them myself.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I used the GI Bill to get a commercial multi-engine instrument pilot's rating, and so I flew twins, and I'd spent a lot of time flying in T-33s, which were the trainer of the F-86 fighter aircraft, and I enjoyed that a lot. I went up with, anytime there was an empty seat, I'd be flying with somebody. I enjoyed the flying. So, I also did the instructor pilot's rating, but I never did take the check ride because I had no intention of being a instructor. I did it so that I could learn the maneuvers and have aircraft control.
Okay.
Did a lot of time racing cars, Bondurant in Arizona, California, and Michael, my son, when he was 16, we went down and took high performance driving, car control with Bondurant racing, so he's a very fine driver.
Okay. All right. It seemed like you have quite a few careers there, but or interests, so to speak. Let's just say once you exited the military, and just to stay on the military theme just a little bit, did you have any adjustment back to civilian life? That
absolutely not.
You were
that's exactly
ready
right.
for it.
That's right.
Okay.
I think that emotional health has a lot to do with how you embrace the activities of what you did. Did you have any trouble coming back? No. You came back and now you changed. I'm dressed like the janitor, and so you're asking me questions and I'm responding. I mean, you're doing a direct cross-examination, and so it's sort of a little. I mean, if you were a plaintiff attorney or a defense attorney, I'd know how to answer the questions, but you're just asking me questions and trying to get. But you're missing the most important part.
Okay.
In 1932, I was born.
Okay.
And this is for Rhett and Sam Clay. In a small town outside of a place called Timisoara, in the last bastion of Marcus Aurelius's attack onto the easternmost borders of the Roman Empire. And he reached the Danube, and he stopped because the forces of the barbarian Germans stopped them. And it was a place called Dacia. And Dacia is modern Romania. And right next to Romania is Hungary. And after the First World War, and incidentally, Marcus Aurelius was the last benevolent emperor of the Roman Empire. And he wrote something in his diary every single day of his life in perfect Latin. And that diary is available in translation, and it's called the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius. And he had a son who was historically not a very nice person, and his son killed him and then took over as emperor. And there was a movie called The Gladiator some years ago, and the old man was Marcus Aurelius, and the son, the gladiator. There was an actor who, Russell Crowe, who played the part of the adopted son, and that is showbiz. I don't think that it really happened that way, although he did have a son, but he was killed, and his son was not a very nice emperor. It didn't last very long, and he was killed. But that was Dacia, and that is modern Romania, and when the Romans came in, they destroyed everything that there was for the Dacian languages, and so it's very difficult to get a line on that. Nevertheless, after the First World War, the Allies had granted a part of Hungary to Romania and a part of Yugoslavia to the Balkan part of Romania. So there was a place there where the people that lived in that area could speak Hungarian and Romanian and Serbian, and so that's where I was born in 1932. In 1939, my grandfather, who had a large farm, had been to this country, U.S., and then went back, and they would come and work at Ford Motor Company. And you want to hear about this?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Worked at Ford Motor Company, and Rouge, in the foundry, made some money, went back and bought some land. And he developed a fairly large farm out there. And my father, who was raised in Detroit, went back, obviously with the family, and went into a place called Veliki Torak, which was on the Yugoslavian border, met a very beautiful woman who turned out to be my mother. And he married her. And she came into Timișoara, and or Timișoara, depending upon whether you were Hungarian or Romanian. And she lived there. And in 1937, my grandfather sold the farm. We moved into the town because he could see, he had been in the First World War, and he could see that Hitler and the other countries that were in that Nazi group, totalitarian states, were up to the same thing all over again. And it goes back to the Holy Roman Empire and all of the wars that you can go. We're not going to have a history lesson here now, but he left, and he made arrangements for the money that was arose out of the sale of the land to make arrangements for the family to go back. In 1939, my father was of draft age, and the Germans had started moving in to Romania, and my father and my mother took some baskets that they had made, suitcases, and they trekked across with 3 children, my sister, my brother, sister Eva, and my brother Louis, and they trekked across the border into Yugoslavia, where my mother's family lived. And then from there, made arrangements and with the American consul, because my grandfather was already back in Detroit, 3252 East 4th Street. And to arrange for the rest of his family to come in, and we lived with my grandfather in Veliki Torak in Yugoslavia for several months, and I don't remember because at that point I was only 5 years old, 6 years old. I remember the village, I remember the farm. They had a fairly large farm out there. And I remember going up into the village center, in Beshkirek, which was the town where there was a train, and we took the train through Italy and into France. And I remember getting into France, and we stayed overnight in a small hotel, and then in the morning going across the channel into England, and Liverpool.
Mhm.
And after spending a day there, we got onto a boat